Hey everybody, Danny here with Into Fly Fishing, and today we're back with another review and we're looking at the Snowbee GXS 7-foot 2-weight rod. I've had a really good chance to take this out on the river, give it a complete test, and I'm excited to tell you guys my thoughts. Alright, so first let's talk the appearance of this rod. Maroon happens to be my favorite color, so I was already a fan of this rod as soon as I opened it up. But I also liked the patterned reel seat here at the bottom of the rod. A nice unique look. A lot of reel seats are either darker or more patterned than this, but this is a bit lighter. It flows well with the handle here, not too much variance in the color. And also another nice feature is the brass along the guides. There's little brass patterns, basically rings around where the guides are. Another added touch, not something you find on many other fly rods in the market. And this isn't a rod that looks too flashy or too much out on the water, but it's different than just a traditional, maybe more simple patterned rod. It's a nice mix of the two. Doesn't look cheap. It doesn't look like it's bought from somewhere that doesn't make a quality rod. And I think overall, just a solid presentation, and it makes you a little bit more confident on the water with the unique appearance that it gives off. So, big fan of it overall. Alright, so this rod is made of military grade carbon fiber. It's actually a material called graphene, and this is one of the most flexible yet strong materials in the world. And you can tell just from the rod tip here how much bend you get, how sensitive it is, and overall quite flexible. And I wasn't worried with the flexibility of this rod that it wasn't going to perform or was going to break on me in any way, shape, or form. And I knew at the same time it'd be quite sensitive. And one thing I appreciated is that the rod, while still flexible, gets more and more stiff as you get lower in the rod. And by the time you get to this final piece here, not a lot of movement in it, but you can still feel a little bit of that flexibility. And it is a fast action rod, and you can feel it get a lot of its power here right down by the handle as you're casting. So fast action, very sensitive up top, but somewhat stiff all the way throughout, so you can still get that power on those maybe more difficult weather days, but still detect those small little strikes and have enough sensitivity and finesse to really be particular with where you pick your spots. Let's talk casting feel. As fly anglers, yes, we want our rod to look good and be made of the best material, but if it's not going to perform or feel good on the water, we're not going to be a fan. And I actually took this rod out on a fairly difficult weather day. 15 to 20 mile per hour winds, and really not easy to cast a 7-foot 2-weight. Just not ideal conditions. But I figured if it could perform well on the day I tested it, it could perform well in almost any type of weather condition that you'd find. And from the beginning, I was quite pleased with the power this rod had through the wind. I was actually able to make 25, even 30-foot casts into the wind, against the wind, with the wind at my side. I didn't feel like I had to force it through the wind to get it to where I wanted it to. I was using Snowbee's delicate presentation fly line, so not a strong fly line that was created to fight through wind, but still I was able to achieve enough power with just this small 7-foot to hit those spots across river that I needed. And as a 2-weight, this rod is made for smaller streams. So whether you're up in the mountains or deep in the woods somewhere, fishing those tight little pockets, seams, riffles, maybe small pools for those wild or native trout, that is what this rod is meant to do. And I can absolutely see how this rod would perform well on that. Those 5, 10, 15 foot casts are money with this rod. You pick your spot, and the more you really use this rod, the more used to it you get. Obviously that's the case with every rod you use, but it's especially true with this one. Since it is so sensitive, it is such a finesse rig, it's gonna take time for you to really get a feel of what it should do, what it shouldn't do, how aggressively you need to make movements, how softly you need to make movements. And overall casting power, really pleased with it, and also accuracy. And Snowbee makes this handle intentionally so that you do keep a finger up the rod blank, so that does help you a little bit more with picking and choosing your spots, your casting power, things along those lines. It's not a huge handle. I have fairly small hands and it fits me fine, but for those of you that have larger hands, keep that in mind. You are definitely going to ride a finger up the blank of the rod here to be as accurate as you possibly can. But overall casting power and feel, I was quite pleased with it from the get-go. How is the mending going to work with this rod? And I was really curious about that. Again, I'm not the most accurate caster. I spend quite a bit of time mending. And the more I use this rod, the more I just got used to how it's going to mend. And I thought I would have to be a lot more aggressive than I needed to be with my mends. If I only needed to mend 2-3 feet, I thought I was really gonna have to go completely over the top and to get to the spot where I wanted. But what I found is that just a little tiny flick of the wrist is gonna mend that line 2-3 feet, and you'll really be good to go with where you need your line to be. And for those of us that aren't the most accurate casters, that spend our time mending to get that perfect drift, whether it's into a pocket, a seam, throughout a small pool or riffle, this rod will respond quickly. And I did appreciate that. It didn't feel like I flicked it and then the line moved. It all went at once. It's sensitive. It's a quick response time. So yes, it's a bit touchy, some might say, but that touchiness and that maybe frustration you get goes away the more you use it and the more you get used to the rod. This rod's going to cost you $549. So for some, that's not a big deal. You'll spend 3, 4, 5 times that on a fly rod and not blink twice. And for others, that's a huge investment. And I would definitely recommend this rod for the angler that is passionate about finesse fishing. You find yourself on small streams multiple times a year, that's where you love to be, and you're looking for a rod that's going to make you that much better in those situations, then this is the rod for you. But if you are new to the sport, if you are somewhat interested in finesse angling, you're not quite sure if that's what you love to do or not, maybe you do it once or twice a year, I don't know if this is the best option for you, because it takes time to get used to. You have to get a good feel for this rod to really maximize all that it has to offer. But overall, this is one of the most accurate finesse rods on the market. It has won awards for casting contests with accuracy, and Snowbee really stands by this rod. They offer a lifetime warranty with this rod, the GXS, as well as all of their other fly rods. So you'll have to fill out the warranty card when you receive it, and if something does go wrong, it breaks, manufacturing error, you'll send it in with a small fee for shipping and handling, and they'll either fix it or replace it with a rod of equal value. But overall, I was really pleased with this rod as a finesse angler at heart. I will absolutely include this in my rotation as I fish those small streams up in the mountains here in a few months, and I can't wait to really throw it out there and see how it's going to perform. So if you liked what you saw today, please be sure to like the video and head over to our page and subscribe.